argument? And secondly, what are the different types of questions that can be asked in critical reasoning? Now, just to put it out there, I have tried my best to sort out all the type of question types that are out there, but it is not an exhaustive list. But I hope it helps you better your uh, CR solving skills. Now, before I before I can ask, can someone tell me what are the main parts of an argument? Like, obviously, if you guys have been studying for CLAT, can someone tell me what are the main parts of an argument? Get any guesses?
Premise and conclusion.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. So premise,
Assumption.
assumption, yes. So basically, we have three main parts for. Sorry, we have three main parts for an argument. We have the premise, we have the conclusion, and we have the assumption. Now, coming to what is a premise? Now, in an argument or in a passage, any statement or sentence which is a fact, observation, or claim which is offered as support or evidence for the conclusion. Basically, the supporting statement. That is a premise. Now, it is telling you why the author believes what they believe, meaning that if the author is supporting a particular stance, the premise helps support that stance and also tells you why the author has that particular belief. Also, for the sake of the argument, whatever is given in the passage as premise is considered to be true, unless and until there's a question where and there is a question about the passage where they're asking if the above premises false, which how does the conclusion get affected and everything. But obviously, that is based on when the question comes. Also, you can say that the premise is the building blocks for the conclusion argument. Okay, it there all usually in a passage there are multiple premises which leads to the main conclusion. Also, see, a conclusion is pretty okay on its own, but it without the premise, it is lacking the support which builds up the whole argument. अब when you're solving logical reasoning passages, central idea वाला questions आया होगा ना. Central idea, what does the author believe, what is the author's main point of view, questions like that. So in those kind of questions, what do you see, what do you look at to understand कि भाई author का main conclusion क्या है? You look at the premises. अब there are some words or indicators, I would say, which you can use to see कि भाई इसमें से कौन सा premise है. Because, since, given, that, as for, due to, in view of, these are connecting words and indicators कि जब कोई premise author state कर रहा है तो may most probably he'll use these kind of words. Now, coming to this, the question, just a small example over here. All birds have feathers. Penguins are birds. These are premises, okay? In this sentence, all birds have feathers. Penguins are birds. These are all premises. ये example का continuation will be there in the next slides. Just so keep in mind, okay? Now, did you guys understand what a premise is? Basically, it is the supporting statement for the conclusion. Just one thing, guys, if I'm asking if a topic was understood by you or not, a thumbs up will be really appreciated. Otherwise, I won't be able to know if I'm communicating properly to you guys or not. Now, what is a conclusion? Now, conclusion is the main claim or the point which the author wants the reader to accept. कि भाई, uh, uh, what is the author trying to say? That is the main conclusion, or that is the conclusion in an argument. पूरा आर्ग्यूमेंट का एक ही काम है कि दे ट्राइंग टू प्रूव sorry, the conclusion is entirely what the argument is trying to prove. Meaning कि if in a whole passage there are about 3 to 4 paragraphs, right? The whole of the passage is trying to comes to a conclusion, and that is what the argument is trying to prove. Usually there is only one main conclusion, but there can be intermediate conclusions as well. Usually, what happens in a structured passage, every paragraph will deal with one point or one issue. And usually, towards the end of the paragraph, there will be one concrete line which is like, yes, this is it. Or, yeah, this is why this happens. So, those are all intermediate conclusions. And they will all lead to one main conclusion. Now, depending on the passage, there may be more than one main conclusion, but that is very rare. Ab- Uh, Sometimes when you're solving passages and you're asked what is the main conclusion or central idea of the passage, it is not sometimes explicitly stated. Directly नहीं दिया हुआ रहता है. You have to infer it, or it is being implied in the passage. Sometimes the statement which is clearly given in the passage is a conclusion, but sometimes you have to read the passage carefully and infer ki what is the author trying to say over here. Uh, any words such as therefore, thus, so, hence, it follows that clearly, consequently. Obviously, you guys know what kind of words I'm referring to here. These are all conclusion indicators. Ki agar these words are being used, there is some kind of emphasis being given to the statement, or there is some kind of ending being made to the statement. Uh, any doubts over here? Okay. So, coming up to assumptions. Now, assumptions, अब ये you might ask कि भाई assumption कहाँ पे होता है? Assumptions are not stated in the passage, ठीक है? You can clearly find out what is the premise. You can clearly find out what is the conclusion. But assumption is an unstated premise. A claim, the argument depends on, but it is not directly mentioned. You're assuming the author is using that claim. Basically, sometimes you feel ना कि भाई ये premise दिया हुआ है, ये conclusion दिया हुआ है. बीच में author must be assuming something to make that conclusion. That is an assumption. Okay, also keep in mind, assumptions are very important, and it is one of the areas that people do tend to make a lot of mistakes. If you're very clear with the concepts, assumptions is a very high scoring area. But if you are not clear, and if you do not read the passages properly, and you do not know how to, see the assumption which is the author has made in the passage, then oftentimes you can make very silly mistakes in these questions. Okay. Assumptions obviously used in strengthening or weakening questions. They can be used in what is the author assuming for the above to be true, which of the following is the assumptions made by the author. So in these kind of questions, it is very difficult. It is very easy to make silly mistakes. Okay. Also, if the assumption turns out to be false, okay, the argument falls apart because it is depending on the assumption to be true for the argument to make sense. Now, agar if you guys are not able to assume कि भाई assumption क्या है इसमें, you can ask yourself the question: which what must be true for this conclusion to logically follow from the premise? कि which of the following connects the premise and the conclusion? So that is an assumption. Just look at this restaurant example over here. The restaurant must be good because there's a long queue. यहाँ पे premise is clearly stated, the long queue. Conclusion is the restaurant is good. What is the assumption being made over here? कि people queue only for good food. अगर खाना गंदा होता तो would the restaurant have such a big line? नहीं. So that is your assumption over here. Now coming to just some examples. Okay, so you have two premises over here. First premise states that countries with stricter gun laws have lower gun related deaths. That's your first premise. The second premise is India is considering implementing stricter gun laws. What's your conclusion? Just ignore the assumption for once and look at the conclusion. Therefore, implementing stricter gun laws will reduce gun related deaths in India. So, what is the author saying? कि author का ये author is saying, यहाँ पे example में ये reasoning use हो रहा है कि some countries which have applied, which have stricter gun laws, उसमें gun related deaths are lower. तो अगर इंडिया भी सेम लॉज इम्प्लीमेंट करता है तो इंडिया का भी गन रिलेटेड वायलेंस विल कम गेट लोअर. So assumption over here is, the assumption being made in this example is that stricter gun laws will have the same effect in India as elsewhere. For the sake of this example, we will consider this assumption to be true. But in a passage, बहुत time क्या होता है, the reasoning being used in this example can be flawed as well. कि the same laws which worked in other countries might not work in India. So keep that in mind. It's a case by case basis, okay? So till now, were you able to understand what is an assumption? How is an assumption connecting to the premises? Okay, perfect. Now coming to okay, just a minute. Okay, so now I'll just deal with this slide. Now I told you earlier today कि intermediate conclusions होते हैं और main conclusions होते हैं. अब when you're reading a passage, sometimes you might feel कि भाई, why are there so many conclusions given? Is this the conclusion or is this sentence the conclusion? You will feel कि भाई every different paragraph will have a different conclusion. But that is where this thing comes in, which is called an intermediate conclusion. Basically, an intermediate conclusion is a claim supported by the premises, but it itself is supporting the main conclusion. Matlab, in a way, it itself is a premise. Despite being a conclusion, it is supporting the main conclusion. So it is acting as both as a conclusion and a premise. Usually, you will find intermediate conclusions in the end of paragraphs. Maybe at the end of the second paragraph, you'll find one intermediate conclusion. At the end of the third paragraph, you'll find another intermediate conclusion. And those two together will help you find the main conclusion. So, yes. Now, what is the main conclusion? Obviously, which is the final takeaway. What the author wants you to know, or what is the claim the author wants you to believe. That's your main conclusion. And keep in mind, what is the difference between an intermediate conclusion and a main conclusion? While the intermediate conclusion is supporting another conclusion, the main conclusion is final. It is not supporting any other conclusion. So that is that. Any doubts in this difference, intermediate conclusion and main conclusion? Okay. Now coming on to why this is important for CLAT. I feel that you guys should know this because this is a very common mistake which students make in CLAT. Ki, in arguments, especially if there are multiple arguments or it's a very complex passage, students will often go for intermediate conclusions in MCQ questions. They will be asking you what is the central idea of the passage or what is the main point belief which the author is trying to prove over here. So sometimes students will go for intermediate conclusions without reading the whole passage. What you need to do is recognize if that intermediate conclusion is supporting another conclusion or not. If it is the main thing which the author is trying to talk about in the passage, keep these in mind because sometimes it is not the right answer. Now, there can be some other types of conclusions as well. Obviously, you know what is the main conclusion and what is an intermediate conclusion, but you can also have counter conclusions. Like basically, the author will state a rejected viewpoint before presenting the main argument. यहाँ पे example देख लो. Yes, Dil, of course. So basically, intermediate conclusions क्या होता है? Let's take an example. You have one passage. The passage has 4 paragraphs. Now, in every paragraph, you will find there is one conclusion or one main point the author is trying to argue in every paragraph in the passage. That is your intermediate conclusion. What is your main conclusion? The conclusion which the author is trying to make after you read all the 4 paragraphs. तो अगर कोई कंक्लूजन is limited to that paragraph, that is an intermediate conclusion. And male conclusion क्या हो गया, which the whole passage is supporting. Any doubts? Okay, perfect. So now there are some other types of conclusions as well. This will not be tested, of course, but I just want you guys to have an idea key what kind of conclusions can be there. So it's easier for you to answer questions. Now, what is a counter conclusion? A counter conclusion is a rejected viewpoint, which is stated before the main argument is given. यहाँ पे देख लो, some argue that fossil fuels are still necessary, but this conclusion can be found in passages that are talking about the importance of green energy, or passages that are dealing with fossil fuel emissions and things like that. Ab implied conclusion, pretty self-explanatory. Ki conclusion is not given directly, but implied. It's not explicitly stated. Uh, so यहाँ पे देख लो, just look at the sentence once. All evidence points to the drug being ineffective. Normal sentence. इसमें implied conclusion क्या होगा? The drug shouldn't be approved. Imagine if this is a passage about drug trials, and this particular drug is being ineffective in the drug trials. Therefore, it should not be approved, which is your implied conclusion. Now, coming to your conditional conclusion, uh, depending on a condition being met. Basically, in a conditional conclusion, a condition has to be met. It's like an if-then situation. If this will happen, then this will happen. So a condition has to be met for the conclusion to come true. These kind of conclusions. If we want to reduce crime, we must reform the police system. What is the example saying? Key to reduce crime, which is the conclusion, the police system must be reformed first. That is a conditional conclusion. Any doubts in this slide? Okay, perfect. Now, moving on. Just some examples over here. I feel that this will be helpful. A healthy diet increases energy levels. People with high energy levels are more productive. Therefore, a healthy diet improves productivity. Now, your premise is stating that healthy diet increases energy levels, which is a premise. Now, intermediate conclusion कौन सा हो गया? That people with high energy levels are productive. Sneha, could you just explain what do you mean by okay, I will try to do that. If I'm able to cover everything, then I'll just surely go with do what you're asking. Okay, so just coming back to this example, uh, people with high energy levels are more productive, which is your intermediate conclusion. But your main conclusion is a healthy diet improves productivity. So, intermediate conclusion acts as a bridge between the premise and the main conclusion. Any doubts in this one? Did you guys understand what I'm meaning by the premise, the uh, intermediate conclusion, and the main conclusion? Okay. Now coming to the second example, over here, some believe smartphones ruin attention spans. However, research shows that moderate smartphones use boost memory recall. So banning phones in classrooms may be counterproductive. This is a small two, three sentence paragraph. Now, there's a counter conclusion saying that smartphones ruin attention, which is rejected because the example is presenting an argument in these three lines. In the last three lines, saying that there's a research showing that moderate use is beneficial, and we should not ban phones because they may be more counterproductive than banning them. So, did you guys understand? the main conclusion, intermediate conclusion, counter conclusion. And now coming to just one more, while we're dealing with CR passages, right? Sometimes people can confuse themselves between arguments and explanations. In a passage, in a logical reasoning passage, not everything is an argument, okay? Some are just plain explanations or have nothing to do with the main argument. They are there for supporting the premises or supporting the argument as a whole, but they're not relevant to the main argument itself. Basically, why is it di- crucial for you guys to understand the difference between arguments and explanations is because it will be helpful when you identify conclusions, when you're answering assumption questions, is inference questions, strengthening, weakening questions. Also, when you try to avoid options in questions that are only describing facts, but they're not arguing any point. Okay. So yeah, that's just moving on to the difference between an argument and explanation. Now, argument is trying to convince you of something. The purpose of an argument is to convince you of something. Whereas in an explanation is to clarify why something happened. Yes, uh, ice caps are melting. In the last 10 years, over 30% of the ice caps in the South Pole have melted. This is your premise. Now, explanation kya ho jayega? Why are the ice caps melting? The ice caps are melting because of global warming, or studies have shown that due to increased use of fossil fuels, ice caps are melting. Now, in an argument, you will have premise and a conclusion, whereas in explanation, you will have some kind of a universal truth or a known fact with a cause or a reason. And in an argument, it is trying to prove a point, it's trying to persuade you. But in an explanation, it's not trying to persuade you, it's just there for an explanation, or it's just there to, make the argument easier to read or easier to digest. Uh, okay. So, just a basic difference between crime and argument and explanation. Crime has increased in the area, therefore, we need more police patrols. The speaker wants you to accept a solution. That's your argument. Why do we need more police patrols? Because crime has increased in the area. Now, explanation, crime has increased in the area because many street lights are broken. Now, the explanation is telling you why has the crime increased. It is supporting the conclusion, but it is not part of the argument. It is not relevant to the main argument. So, yeah, again, argument, since his test scores have improved, he deserves to be admitted to the advanced class. Why does he get to move to an advanced class? Because his test scores have improved. But in an explanation, he's telling his test scores have improved because he started getting tutoring sessions. So explanation is telling you why the test score have improved. So yeah, that is the difference between an argument and an explanation. So I have uh, finished one part of my class for today, which is the structure of an argument. Any doubts still now in this part?
Hi. Excuse me, ma'am.
Okay. So now moving on to
Hi.
different types of questions. I have recognized mainly 8 types of questions, which are argument evaluation, drawing inference and conclusions, basically statement, assumption, argument, conclusion, weakening and strengthening the argument, supplying the assumption or the conclusion, flaw in the argument, paradox resolution, and structure of the argument.
Hi. Excuse me, ma'am. Can you give me a explanation in short how to find a conclusion?
Yes, sure. Wait, let me just give me a minute.
Yeah. Okay.
if I do have, I'll just open an example so it's easier for me to explain. Okay, so in this small just it's obviously not a passage, but if you read this sentence, if you read these three sentences, you can see key there are indicator words. So, some, like there are indicator words. If they use words like however, thus, therefore, which is indicating that the author is coming to a conclusion or the author is concluding the argument. So in most cases, any sentence which has these indicator words, wait, I'll show you others as well. Uh, it follows that clearly, consequently, so hence, therefore. These are all indicator words that show it's a conclusion. Also, basically, in a conclusion, the conclusion will not be supporting anything else. While a premise will be supporting a conclusion, it is not the conclusion won't be supporting anything else. Just read this sentence once. Uh, the conclusion is banning phones in classrooms may be counterproductive. Is it supporting any other sentence in this passage? No, right? However, the premise, which is research shows that moderate smartphone use boosts memory recall, it is supporting the conclusion that mobile phones in classrooms shouldn't be banned. So that is how you'll be able to guess which is the premise, which is the conclusion, and make a good guess ki ha bhai, the author is telling me that this is the conclusion. Uh,
Okay, got it. Thank you.
okay.
Okay,
Okay, for
okay, thank you.
moving on with our class. Did someone say something? Okay. So moving on with our class, we have paradox resolution, we have structure of the argument. Now, some of them may be overlapping, but I thought having a more broad idea of the different kinds of questions asked will help you, read the passage better, structure your answers accordingly, and maybe improve your solving speed as well. If you have an idea as to, okay, how to answer that kind of question. Now, what is an argument evaluation? First, I'll just tell you uh, what are the common question types in argument evaluation? Does the conclusion follow logically from the passage? Which of the following best evaluates the conclusion drawn above? Which of the following, if true, most strengthens or weakens the passage? Which of the following, if false, most weakens or strengthens the passage? Now, you will ask me why are strengthening and weakening questions over here, but it's evaluating the argument. Now, it involves whether a conclusion is following from the evidence provided. Key if the question if the author has given some premises and there is one conclusion, is the premises giving enough evidence, or is there the logic behind the conclusion and the premise? Is it following in a straight line, or is there something missing, or is there a flawed reasoning being used? So basically, in argument evaluation, it is testing the validity of the reasoning. How is the reasoning supporting the logic? How is the coherence of the whole argument? Is the argument very fragile? Is the argument strong? So this is basically what argument evaluation is. Now, how do you identify? Like, how do you go about solving these kind of questions? Firstly, of course, main thing which you do while solving any logical reasoning question or while reading the passage is to identify what the conclusion is of the passage. Otherwise, it will be pretty hard to solve most of these questions. Also, find the premise. What evidence or what are the facts, figures, examples the author is using to support the argument or the support the conclusion. Now, when you identify the premise and the conclusion, you have to see what is the link between these two. What is the logic behind the author's reasoning? Key is the conclusion. Are the premises given enough to come to that conclusion? Or is there something missing? Or is the author wrong about something? That is your thought process. Also, make sure that you're looking out for assumptions. Maybe sometimes the premise is not given directly, but the author is assuming that, okay, I'm assuming this, therefore, this is my conclusion. So, how do you identify the assumption that what must be true for the conclusion to make sense? So, these are some of the strategies you can use to help you with these questions. Now, coming to the second type of questions, basically where you have to draw inference or conclusions. Basically, in these type of questions will be which of the following is a valid inference, what can be reasonably be concluded from the above, which conclusion is best supported by the passage, which of the following is the author most likely to agree to, which of the following is the author least likely to agree to, which of the following is in alignment with the author's viewpoint. These are all inferences and conclusion questions. Okay, basically in these type of uh, questions you have to determine what logically follows from the given passage. कि पैसेज में जो इंफॉर्मेशन दिया हुआ है उसको यूज करने के बाद जो ऑप्शंस दिए हुए हैं उसमें से कौन सा सबसे ज्यादा लॉजिकली फ्लो कर रहा है. कि अगर द पैसेज इज अबाउट ग्लोबल वार्मिंग तो कौन से ऑप्शंस में से जो भी इंफॉर्मेशन दिया हुआ है उसको यूज करने से विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग ऑप्शंस is best logically flowing from the above information. Basically, it's your ability to interpret the implications of a passage based solely on what is stated or logically implied. Please keep in mind while solving these kind of questions, never use outside knowledge. I think by now, if you guys have been doing mocks for some time, इतना तो पता चल गया होगा कि while solving logic and legal reasoning questions, you do not use any kind of outside knowledge. You assume that whatever is given in the passage is it and it's true. So please keep that in mind because sometimes people unknowingly apply something which is given outside the passage and then you guys get the wrong answer, sorry. Now, how do you solve these inferences and conclusion questions? Again, as I've stated before, पैसेज में जो इंफॉर्मेशन दिया हुआ है खाली उस पे फोकस करो. बेसिकली जो इम्प्लाइड assumptions है, implied conclusions है, उस पे फोकस करो. Anything which is being implied in the passage, very important over there. Also, any options which are too extreme, कि भाई it's too far fetched. It is going beyond what the passage is saying. It's most likely not the right option, so don't go for it. Okay. Now what are the traps that you guys can see, or what are some of the most mistakes that people make while solving these kind of questions? Options that are probably true. You're reading an option, सब चीज सही लग रहा है, सेम टॉपिक है, सेम मैच है, बट लॉजिक उसका इज कंप्लीटली गलत. The logic behind the option is flawed or it's not going with what the passage is saying. So please don't go for options that are probably true. Look at the logic behind the option, and also if the topic of the option is okay, so this is not applicable to over here, but please read all the options pura, because sometimes in the first part of the option you will have everything which is okay, but towards the end there will be one part which is not related to the passage at all. So हड़बड़ी में पूरा ऑप्शन पढ़ छोड़ना, प्लीज पढ़ना. हड़बड़ी में आधा ऑप्शन पढ़ के सॉल्व मत कर देना. ऑल्सो एग्जाम्पल्स से कंक्लूजन मत ड्रॉ करना, प्रीमाइसेस से ड्रॉ करना. अनदर थिंग, any doubts in this type of questions? Okay. Now coming to assumption, argument, conclusion. Basically, इसमें these type of questions are asked. Identify which of the what is taken for granted in moving from the premise to the conclusion? If the assumption is false, does the argument collapse? What is the author trying to convince the readers? Uh, Wait, these type of questions. Okay, so basically, इस type of question में you have to identify assumptions that are unstated but necessary for an argument to hold. You have to recognize conclusions. You have to distinguish arguments from other statements by identifying a statement with both a claim and a reasoning. Because sometimes you will find कि भाई हाँ, is this statement an argument or is this statement an explanation? So just you have to practice to uh, have an idea of making a difference. Now, obviously, I've done with this slide, but yeah. Now, what are some of the common traps in these type of questions? uh, you're confusing assumptions which facts are actually stated. So if you are being asked to identify an assumption made by the author, please do not go for options that are already there in the passage. That is not an assumption, it's a premise. Selecting conclusions that repeat a premise rather than logically flowing from them. Sometimes पेपर में क्या होता है, a premise is stated again in the options, बस wording या language different कर देते हैं. That is not your conclusion. Also, mistaking examples or illustrations for conclusions, कि explanations, examples which are not necessary, उसको तुम लोग मान लेते कि वो conclusion है. So keep these in mind as well. Any doubts? Okay. Now coming to fourth, which is weakening and strengthening argument. I think this is one of the most common questions out there. So the wording which can be used for the questions, but obviously which of the following if true most weakens the argument, strengthens the argument, which of the following would most seriously undermine the conclusion. So हमेशा paper में they won't use the word weaken or strengthen. They can use synonyms like undermine, support, yada yada. You get that right. So basically, these questions test your ability to evaluate the logical strength of an argument. कि अगर if you're given additional information, is the argument standing? Is the additional information strengthening the argument? Is it weakening it? If it's true, then is the argument still standing? That is your basic thing being tested over here. Basically, अगर नया statement कुछ आता है और if additional information is provided, is it reinforcing the conclusion? Is it undermining the conclusion by giving new evidence? That is it. It is very simple. Uh, Obviously, you know how to identify the conclusion, identify the premise. Now you have to understand ki what logic is the author using between the premise and the conclusion. कि कौन सा reasoning use करके वो premise और conclusion को connect कर रहा है. अब नया info, whatever the new info is given to you, or whatever options are given to you, ask yourself the question: does this statement make the conclusion more convincing or less convincing? Does it make the author's viewpoint more convincing or less convincing? So if it's making the conclusion more convincing, or if it is filling or supporting an assumption, it's your right option. But if it's offering an alternate cause, yeah, this is happening, but this reason is also there for this occurrence. You can say the polar ice caps are melting due to global warming, but you can also say another reason for the polar ice caps melting are one of the main indicators of global warming. But this is your conclusion. But another conclusion can be that the rising sea levels, the increased average temperatures are also examples of global warming. So offering an alternative cause, it's contradicting the evidence. whatever evidence the author is using to make the argument, option उसका उल्टा बोल रहा है. So for weakening questions, look for those. And now coming to some traps, which are there, which are used for your uh, which sorry, which are some common traps in weakening and strengthening questions. A statement that is related to the topic but logically relevant. Sometimes क्या होता है, strengthening and weakening questions में you will come across a option which has a similar topic to the passage, but in real life, or the reasoning behind the option is completely different. It is logically irrelevant. So please do not go for those options. Okay, you confuse correlation with causation. Now, I think this is one of my mantras in life. Do not assume correlation with causation. If two things are happening together, do not always assume that they're happening because of each other, which is a complete, which is a common mistake that many people make. You must have heard about this, right? If A happens, then B happens. Meaning, if it rains, then there are heavy traffic. But you cannot reverse it. Like, if there is heavy traffic, it must be raining. Heavy traffic could happen because of other things as well. So please do not confuse correlation and causation. Okay, also, this is a general trap instead of only specific to weakening and strengthening arguments. Options that are emotionally appealing but logically wrong. Maybe they'll give a very controversial, very emotionally filled option to you. And you will feel कि भाई यही ठीक होगा ना. This must be the right thing. But look at the passage and then look at the option. Is that logically relevant? Is it logically fine to be there? That's your question. Now, also avoid any options that are very exaggerated, too broad, or too extreme options. They always use words like always, never, 100%, henceforth, like, very broad options or exaggerated options. So, those are some of the traps that you should avoid. Was the weakening and strengthening part clear to you, guys? Okay. Now, moving to uh, supplying the assumption or conclusion. I think this is pretty similar to one of the earlier ones that we did, which is a statement assumption. So I'll quickly go through this. Basically, in this type of questions, you have to identify an unstated assumption. You have to give the assumption that the author is making, or you have to identify a missing conclusion. So that is the main point of these questions. Uh, which of the following best completes the argument? Which of the following is an assumption? Just to put it out there, we will deal with each we will deal with each of these question types in detail in future classes. Today is just to give an overview of what will be done and what are the different topics that we'll be dealing with. So if uh, I know these are not in depth explanations, but just a overview of what kind of questions that are asked in CLAT or any other logical reasoning section in law exams. Now, in these type of questions, in where you have to supply the assumption or conclusion, you have which of the following is an assumption required by the argument, or which of the following is being assumed by the author, which of the following is the most appropriate conclusion, which of the following most logically follows from the given information in the passage. Again, as I said before, there will be a lot of overflow or between the different types of questions. So don't worry if you think that, oh, this is that type of question. It's completely fine. Now, what strategy will you use for assumptions? If you're not sure ki is this the assumption which the author is making, use a negation test. Now, what is a negation test? Think, if the assumption is false, is the conclusion still following? If the assumption is not false, the conclusion will follow and is a necessary assumption. But if the conclusion turns assumption is false and the conclusion does not follow, it is an unnecessary assumption. Now, for conclusions, obviously, pretty what is the which what logically follows from the above given information? Key in the information given above, which of the following is the most logically relevant uh, conclusion? Okay. Uh, Again, do not go for options that are too strong or too absolute. There are no chances for error. Those kind of options sometimes are not the right ones. So please read the passage and then if the option you think might be right. But if it's too extreme, please recheck once and then go for the option you think is right. Also, do not pick any statement which might be true. कि हाँ भाई, this statement is true, it must be the right option. But it is irrelevant to the argument. Do not go for those kind of options. Also, do not select a conclusion that goes beyond the scope of the premise. Ki obviously a conclusion is being made. You're going for that conclusion. But is it within the scope of the premises? Is it being discussed in the premises? That is the question you should ask. I hope that this is pretty clear because this is just a continuation of the previous question types. Okay, now this is a pretty important uh, topic, and I think in one of my next classes, I'll be dealing with this. This is just an overview of the question type. Now, what is a flaw in the argument question type? It is testing your ability to identify the flaw being used in the reasoning or errors in the reasoning. Ki हाँ, the author is in the reasoning used in the passage. Why is it flawed? Is the author not using the author's reasoning? Is it flawed or not? There might be a structural mistake. There might be a logical mistake. So basically, those type of questions. Now, when it comes to the flaws that might be there in the argument, there are there are basically five general types. Over here, the five types given over here are general. There might be more, but these are the most common types. So there can be casual flaws, there can be overgeneralization, there can be false analogy, circular reasoning, irrelevant comparison. So, okay, now what type of questions which that can be asked? Which of the following identifies a flaw in the argument? Which of the following is the most serious logical error in the argument? The reasoning in the argument is most vulnerable to criticism on the grounds that which flaw best describes the reasoning used? Or which of the following options uses the same reasoning as using the passage? Over here, there might be a flaw in the argument, or there might be, some kind of reasoning error. So just to put it out there. Now, identify? How do you uh, solve these questions? Now, obviously, firstly, you have to identify the premise and the conclusion, and then you have to look whether the conclusion logically follows. Look for patterns such as correlation is equal to causation. Obviously, I have explained that before. Correlation is not always equal to causation because if two things are happening at the same time, there is a correlation. It does not mean that they're happening because of each other. Also, making universal claims from limited evidence. Your sample size is limited. There is only 2, 3 examples given, but the author is making very large or universal claims. I'll just give an example for this. Let's say the child marriage, the rate of child marriage in Bihar is at an all-time high. It means that is a premise. अब conclusion में author is stating women are treated as second-class citizens in India. Just from that uh, sentence or premise, how can you make the conclusion that women are treated as second class citizens? So that is like Making it is like a making a universal claim just with very limited evidence. Yeah. Relying on circular justice कि हाँ this happened therefore this might have also happened. If A happened then B happened. It does not mean that B also, if B happened then A also happened. Reverse mat karo. uh Now, lastly, paradox resolution questions. What are these kind of questions? What are these questions? First of all, before I move on to this, I'm sorry, any doubts in the flaw in the argument part of the question type? Okay. Now, moving on to paradox resolution questions. Now, what are paradox resolution questions? These questions ask you to resolve an apparent contradiction between two or more facts presented in the passage. Basically, there might be contradicting facts, and the author has made a conclusion from that. So, a paradox is created. So, we have to solve that paradox. What is the right option in a paradox resolution question? Ki something which is an explanation for both the explanations, which is connecting the two facts and makes them true at the same time. Uh, so some question types can be which of the following explains the apparent inconsistency in the passage? Which option, if true, most helps to reconcile the contradiction being made in the passage? Now, this is not a very common type of question, but question type, but just to put it out there, and you know that it exists. Uh, so strategy, basically, you have to identify the facts that appear to be contradicting each other, and then you have to look for a third factor or the option that can explain why the both facts can be true. Key, this fact and this fact are existing at the same time, and why. Also, do not go for options that are ignoring one side of the one side and only supporting the other side. Then the paradox is still there. Why are both the sides happening at the same time? uh Now, what are the traps given? Now, obviously, you go for options that explain only one side of the fact and ignores the contradiction completely. You select responses that deepen the conflict or add unrelated details. कि हाँ कॉन्फ्लिक्ट तो है ही, और ये ऑप्शन सेलेक्ट करने के बाद और डीप हो जाएगा कॉन्फ्लिक्ट एंड विल बी मोर कंफ्यूजिंग. Also, any doubts over here? Obviously, again, this, especially this paradox resolution, it is one of the more detailed topics which I'll be dealing with later in my future classes. But for now, is this clear? Okay. Now, moving on to uh okay, so this is a pretty easy one. You have to identify what is the role of a specific sentence or parts of a passage in the argument, whether they're a premise, whether they're a conclusion, whether they're a counter argument or an example. Again, very simple. Uh, Again, questions can be which of the following best describes the structure of the argument, which sentence presents the author's conclusion, what is the function of the second paragraph, or what is the function of the above line in the argument, things like that. Uh, Obviously, I think this is pretty easy to solve because you know how to identify a premise, you know how to identify a conclusion, and then uh, read the sentence and see which is what category it is fitting the best. Okay. Also, how you have to understand how one part is connecting to other, and if that part is removed, does the argument break down, or is there a is the or if is the argument not breaking down? So that is that. Okay. Obviously, common mistakes will be mistaken. You're thinking that an example or a support is the main conclusion. Please do not do that. Premises को assumptions में confuse कर रहे हो. Assumptions is unstated. Please remember. If it is stated on the passage, it is not an assumption. Uh, you're ignoring the flow of the passage. You're thinking ki this must be the conclusion, this must be the premise. But look at the flow of the logic and see, is it following logically? Uh, that is that. Uh, any doubts in any of the concepts taught today? That was it for today's class. And I think someone asked about how to mark. Wait, just a minute. Explain how to mark answers accordingly based on this class, just so that I understand how to mark answers. For this, I actually don't have any passages with me on hand, but if you guys will give me 1 minute, let me see what I can do. Other than that, are there any doubts?